Today, I have the pleasure to talk to a good friend from good old high school by the name of Joshua Jermaine. He's an artist out. Wait, are you from? You're not from Dallas, are you?
Nah, originally from New Orleans, and then obviously we went to high school in Dallas together.
Okay, okay. And he's a teacher and a coach, and he's a brilliant mind. And yeah, so how you doing today, man?
I'm doing wonderful, man. You know what I'm saying? I'm at my lady's house right now, just kind of relaxing and kicking it.
That's what's up. That's what's up. Ah, you got fucking don't bear with me. I'm still chilling. It's always awkward to start off after you've had a conversation, and then you go into trying to continue a conversation. I think I'm gonna scratch that one day and just start off recording with people. I think that's a better way to go at it. So that way it can still be smooth and genuine. I'm still figuring this shit out.
All good, bro. All good.
But shoots. For starters, I want to say I listened to your last project and I thought that shit was amazing. File 13, right?
Yeah, I appreciate that. So, File 13 was never like an official project. What it was, and I'll get into it a little bit more, I'm sure, like by the end of the interview. But it was like some throwaways, which is why it's called File 13. That's like what the I don't know. My dad used to always refer to that as like the trash, right? He would say File 13.
Mm.
Um, so that's basically like throwaways, and sometimes it might have been like stuff I released a while ago, but I had to re-release a new version of it for various reasons. Um, and it was just a way for me to put up multiple songs up at once, just to have something up. And it's
That's
still good
dope.
work. It's just, like it's good work, and I'm glad you think it's amazing because like the next stuff that's coming is going to be absolutely crazy.
Good, good. Bro, what was it? Was it I got the juice, no pulp? Yeah, bro. Yeah, bro. That shit's
Yeah,
fire.
yeah, I appreciate that. Yeah,
I was,
yeah.
I was super proud of you. I was telling V's about. I was like, bro, nigga, Josh dropping that fire.
Hey, for real. Look, and that was man, that was like 2015, I
18,
think.
right?
No,
Yeah, it was
17,
18.
17, 17, 17. Yeah, it was when I moved. That was right before I moved. I think that was right before I moved from Texas to Arizona, and so that was like summer or spring 2017 that I recorded that.
Mm.
And
I
that's what I'm
put
saying. Like I put that back up probably like a year ago, but it had been done for 2 years. It was just stuff sitting on the laptop.
I saw because when you sent me the link, well, not link, you told me where. Yeah, you did send me the link. I then saw that it was put out on was that DistroKid or is it DiscoKid or DiscoKid? Did you? That's the
Distro, yeah,
distribution,
yeah. I use DistroKid for my online distribution. So
which is badass.
DistroKid is great. Like I'm not about to get them free publicity, but it's a great distributor to use. I enjoy it.
You know what? You're right, but I did want to know your experience because I was because for me I was doing some research on it because I was
Yeah,
interested in doing some distributions, and for me there's like so many different places you can go. And one of the controversial topics that they talk about with DistroKid is the whole legacy thing, where you're
yeah.
paying $20 a year, but you technically can't keep your music up there unless you die or some shit.
So what I my experience with DistroKid is it's $20 a year and you get unlimited releases. Um,
Mm.
so for me, like even though I haven't really released anything in like the last 3 years, I kind of like dropped off of music in the last like 2 3 years for career reasons that again I'm gonna get into a little bit later. But um, even with me just paying that $20 a year, the distro pays for itself. Like the streams that I get on my old stuff that's just up that I don't even promote,
Mm-hmm.
like that stuff by itself will cover the cost, and royalties from distro. So you pay 20
Mm.
bucks. It was like $20 a year. I think I signed up for the one that's 35. Because I got a discount on it the first year, and then I get an extra artist account, so I get like another artist account that I don't even use yet. But
Mm.
and I'm saving that for like I think my little sister is one of my little sisters is probably gonna end up wanting to do music, so I'm saving that for them whenever they're ready. But
That's
basically,
dope.
you you pay that yearly fee. That's it. They don't take any of your royalties. 100% of your royalties go straight to you, and you get unlimited releases, and you get to control so much with your releases, bro. Like all your metadata, the ID3 tags or whatever, all of that. They make sure all of that's straight. They give you access to edit your artist Apple Music page. They give you access to like verify your Spotify account. Um, they got like a bunch of extras, bro, and I haven't even like used all of them, but I've used some of them before. But like I know I gotta verify Spotify because I use DistroKid.
Mm.
And
That's what's up. That's what I was reading on actually, because for me, since I'm doing all these podcasts now, the thing I was looking into is to see if they could also do podcasts. But when you even search that, they tell you we don't do that at this time. But I know when it comes to verifying, it's real easy to verify on Spotify. You just literally you just send them an email if you have to, and they get that shit taken care of in about 5 minutes.
yeah. So I mean, they take care of it. You know what I'm saying, pretty quickly. But I've had, like I said, distro. I've had a good experience with it. It's never failed me. So
That's what's up.
I get to like look at my stats pretty quickly, and um uploading is so quick, bro. Like if I upload a song on DistroKid, it's up everywhere within the week. But like Apple Music, it's usually up like in a few hours or a day.
Mm.
Like last time I checked, I would upload something, it'll be on iTunes and Apple Music. 4 hours minimum, like a day max is up. And then like Spotify is a little bit slower, so it'll get up there like 3-4 days, 2 days, something like that. You know, that's kind of like the main ones. But it'll get up everywhere. So the thing with like where they tell you unless you pay for it every year, you know, or you die, like it won't stay up. Well,
Mm-hmm.
when you upload your music, there is an option that you could pay, and it's like it's the legacy option or whatever. So they'll keep it up forever. And I haven't used it yet because I just pay for it every year. But I would
Mm-hmm.
use that like maybe if I had an album itself, right? Like when I'm dropping singles, I'm not paying for that.
Yeah, I feel
I'm just
that.
uploading singles off of, you know what I'm saying, me paying my yearly fee. Like now if I drop an album and it's 10, 15 songs, I might just pay for that whole album to stay up. And I'll pay that one time legacy fee so that album stays up forever. I don't care if the singles fall off because the singles are on the album anyway. You just got to match the ISRC codes.
Mm.
You feel me?
So I gotta ask you, what the hell is that? Because and like I always like doing this. Explain to me like I'm five. There's a Reddit page called "Explain to Me Like I'm Five." So
Yeah.
yeah, explain to me like I'm five.
The ISRC code is the name. It's like a nickname for your song, basically.
Mm-hmm.
So if I drop a song, say I drop a song today, okay? The song name, let's say the song name is Waffles, right?
Mm-hmm.
The ISRC code is some numbers. It's like a bunch of numbers together. And then if you search those numbers, then you can still find the same song. It's like an ID. Like if you ever seen
That's
like a
cool.
driver's license or personal ID, it's like an ID number for it.
Now, does that number have anything to do with when you're trying to Shazam songs or look for it on Google? Well, minus typing it in. When you use Google to hear a song and to tell you the information about it,
So yeah,
or just
ISRC codes usually I don't think you can find them on Google. I know like so the main thing I've ever used it for is it helps you track it helps you keep your stream numbers accurate. I
mm,
believe it can help you track your sales better. Like if you start tracking, you know, if you're going bronze, I mean not bronze, I'm stupid. If you're going gold or platinum or anything like that. It's also good for say you messed up the song, right?
mm-hmm.
And you want to take it down and re-upload it, you gotta have that ISRC code so that when you re-upload it, all the streaming sites know it's the same song.
Mm,
So like let's say again, I make a song called Waffles. I put the song up, right? And then I realize I messed up the mix. I didn't like that. Or, you know, maybe some later on somebody says, oh, you got a lyric that's insensitive in there and I gotta take it out, right?
mm-hmm.
But I don't want to lose my streaming number. Spotify say, oh, you got 5,000 streams. I don't want to lose that. I want people to see that.
Yeah.
I can copy the ISRC code, re-upload the song with the fixed version of it, wait a few days, and then take the old one down. And I
Mm.
won't lose my streams. Sometimes you might have to like email the streamers or whatever, the streaming sites, but it'll put the song back up. So I had to do that when I uploaded file 13. I took a bunch of songs down and I put a lot of some of them were re-uploads, but it was all clean versions. So when I did that, because it was the same song, I had to copy over the ISRC code. You get those from your distributor, like DistroKid gives you an ISRC code. It generates one, and then you
That's cool.
just when you log into it, you can look up what your own ISRC code is for a song.
That's cool. You're teaching me. I have not jumped into that. For me, there's so much to the music game that when you're just making music, you don't know. Because on top of all this, there's still the conversation about BMI, ASCAP, and I forgot what the third one was. But people are just learning that. It's a whole nother subject. Not to mention just clearing samples for if people are doing that. That's a whole nother subject.
Right.
And that brought me to my next question because I think I was listening to your project. You were saying something along the lines of make your own shit, and
Yeah.
you know, and I was like, yeah, that's what's up. So are you producing?
Yeah, I still produce. I still produce sometime. I don't like I used to produce almost everything I was doing, and now I produce occasionally just because my passion does fall with like actually making songs and rapping and writing lyrics.
Hmm.
I enjoy songwriting more, but sometimes you just need to have a beat to be able to write too. So I like to produce still. Yeah, still do that.
What do you used to produce on?
I produce on FL Studio, whatever the newest one is. They finally
Okay,
started putting
okay.
FL on Mac. So,
What's your favorite VST?
mm, what's that one I use? Favorite VST plugin. I've been using. I think I've been using Sakura lately. It's like
Ah.
it's the default one. It's the default one in FL Studio. But yo, I watched the video and I wanted to figure out how can I use the best like default plugins that I could use,
Hmm.
right? Like to make music. And then I found that one and I was like, yo, this is crazy. I used to use what was it, Nexus, I think.
Yeah, Nexus
And
is cool.
I gotta get it again. I could do that whenever, but like I need to get Nexus again. Nexus was hard and I don't have it anymore. I have it on my I got a super old laptop that's too slow really to use anymore. And I got it on there. I gotta get it on my Mac. Nexus is good.
I fuck with Nexus. I fuck with Sakura. My personal favorite is Poison. I love
Okay.
Poison, and the reason is because what I started doing most of the time you're just gathering VSTs. You're like, oh, look at this VST, and you just download it and you add it to your collection. And as I got older, I started realizing the importance of simplifying things. And I would just sit there and I would take Poison and I would switch it to default, and I would just go in and learn what each of the different buttons and flips and triggers or whatever you want to call. And I would just go in there and switch it up to make my own sounds. And then I just started doing that same thing and jumping around with that to Sakura to just whatever the hell's on it. I'm making it's in my interest to try to see what it's take the program to the default and then mess around with it so I can create my own sounds. And
Exactly.
phone call, god damn you.
Yeah.
But yeah, man, that's that's one of those things that I've really enjoyed doing with it. I'm trying to think, is there any one particular that I really suggest? What about was it East West? East West? Yeah, the East West Instruments. You familiar with that?
No, actually I don't think I am.
It's I think it's called East West Quantum Leap. I you should pay for it allegedly. Anyway, you they have they sample whole orchestras and choirs, and it's it's a beautiful
Oh
thing.
man.
You can also get a version of it through what is that, Contact. Contact has its version of it too. Contact Player has a shitload of things, but you should check it out. if you want to go for some sounds that sound like you're making it out of like you got an orchestra at your disposal, yeah,
Yeah.
comes in handy, man. I highly suggest it.
You said it's East West?
East West Quantum Leap.
Quantum what?
It's East West Quantum Leap, and they have East West Quantum Leap Symphonic Orchestra, and they have another version for symphonic choir, and
Yeah, I need that.
it's good stuff, bro. And you should just check out more of their stuff because they got. Let's see. Do you remember? It's a Kanye song where he's using those, those Kanye violins that sound like it's being played by like it's like it feels like an Italian string or some Spanish strings, and it
Yeah,
goes, yeah, they got a thing dedicated to that. So you should check it out, bro. I highly suggest it.
I'm gonna check it out. I definitely like been needing some more stuff, and that'll definitely like crank up how much I'm producing. But I know I'm always looking for like I love choir sounds, bro. I love producing choir sounds, and I just can't never find any good ones. So I remember I was like, man, I'm gonna just get a bunch of people together
Yeah.
and should have them in here during the summer, and we just going when I need one for a song, I'll be like, yo, everybody get in here. Here's what I want you to sing, and then I'm gonna create my own samples basically. And then COVID hit, so I wasn't able to do that like I wanted to. Like I took the summer off of work so I could have more time to do certain stuff. But COVID was like, nah, you don't get a summer, dog.
Actually, that was because I was talking to a gentleman who was looking to record, and for me right now, it's like COVID's a real deal. So you're trying to be a little bit more safe. So
Yeah, exactly.
I had this idea because I like to do thought experiments, and then what I came up with was it would be cool if we could start talking to the most like normal people we go to record with,
Yeah.
and get them to suggest cheaper options or things for people to record with. Then they can record it in the raw, ship that stuff off to those same people that record, have them just mix and master it. So now they don't have to actually sit there and do the recording, but all they're doing is mixing and mastering. And I think that would be cool because, hey, on their end, they're trying to be safe and still keep business going. It would
Yeah.
be cool if you could do that. So I haven't had that conversation with anybody just yet, but I need to hop on that because I think that would be cool for all of us at this moment.
Yo, alternate, like a good, like so basically like a good cheaper recording option, right?
Yeah.
Anybody that wants to at least to be able to track out vocals in a house, get the it is the what is it? It's the Focusrite Scarlett. There is a bundle, not a Focusrite Scarlett, right? I found this because my homie Trey, he has like a Focusrite Forte, which is like the super fancy touchscreen audio interface. You don't need that one, but that one's dope. But there's Focusrite makes some really good like audio equipment. So I remember there's a picture somewhere. My homie got the picture. I can't remember, but Drake at one point, like in 2013, like 2011, nothing was the same-ish era. Drake had a Focusrite Scarlett. He had one of the big ones with like 8 inputs, 8 outputs. And then I was watching this thing called Rhythm and Flow, and it was a studio that Chance the Rapper and Anderson .Paak was in, and they had one too. It's a Focusrite Scarlett. So anyway, I got one, but they sell it in a bundle. So you could get, I think I paid like $160 or like $200 max, right? It came with the Focusrite Scarlett interface, and it was a smaller version, but it was still the same quality. But I think I got like 2 inputs, one or 2 outputs, 1 input, or something like that. So just for me, it's fine. But I got that one. It came with a microphone to match it, and then it came with some headphone monitors. What else it came with? I think that's all it came with. It came with those 3 things. I spent like $170, I think, bro.
That's what's
I got
up.
it from Guitar Center.
That's what's, and this is that shit that people need to know so they can do that and then find their trusted engineer, send it out to them, and keep that music going. Because I know it's been a strain. I talked to one homie, and his main thing was, yeah, man, I got people that stay with me, and I can't just have people coming in and out recording right now because it's getting weird. Not to mention now they're talking about it might be airborne too. God, but yeah, man.
And I spent, bro, I'm telling you, I spent that, right? And then I bought like a mic stand. Obviously, I bought one of those for about $15,
Mm-hmm.
or something like that, or 20 or whatever. And then so I don't know if you've been seeing like sometimes people that do music they get ads for music stuff, right? And there's this thing called a chaotica eyeball.
Yep, I'm familiar. Got one.
Oh, okay. So I don't need to explain that because you know what it is. But basically, the chaotica eyeball, isolates outside sound, right? There's a knockoff, bro, that works just as good. It's a Chinese knockoff, and it's called like a Altron 40 or something. I bought one
Altron
for
40.
yeah. So the chaotica eyeball, I heard is pretty good, and I watched reviews comparing both of them. Or no, it's the Altron PF8. I think that's what it is. But basically, the chaotica eyeball costs $200. And for me, I was like, dang, I need to be able to do this on a budget first. So I watched the reviews. Most people was like, yeah, it's about the same quality. The Altron PF8, bro, I think I bought it off eBay for $40, brand new.
Mm.
And it's a ball. You put it over your microphone. It fits with the Focusrite package. Um, Isolates like extra wind and noise that you're getting from like outside or anything like that crazy. Like it's real good isolation. It's like it's not as good as if you in a booth, but it's pretty dang close. And so like the songs that you heard, like that you heard me upload, like some of those were done just off that gear that I got. Nothing else. In a bedroom in my house. You know what I'm saying?
That's what's up.
Um
That shit sounded like I think I was telling you that it sounds like really good quality. Do you do your own engineering?
yeah, I actually do. I do my own engineering. So I know a little bit about engineering just because it was a dude. Oh, excuse me. It was a dude back in Texas. His name's Eric Delegard. He was an engineer. He probably still is. And he had a studio in Denton, Texas.
Mm.
Where UNT and TW at. And that's where I was at that time.
Mm-hmm.
So my homie Trey had linked up with him, and Trey was kind of like his understudy, and like Trey wanted to take lessons from him. So the dude was giving basically free lessons in exchange for us helping him around the studio. So like
Mm.
Trey would go and Trey would like help clean the studio, sweep it out, wipe stuff down, maybe run errands or something like that for him. And in return, the dude would let Trey sit in on professional sessions that he had going. And these were like people that was ending up on the radio and stuff. Like this dude has done sessions with like some of Prince's like band players and stuff before or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And like a whole bunch of people. But dude has a Grammy, matter of fact. He has a Grammy. I held it in my hand, bro. If I could ever find a picture. Real good dude, knows his stuff. Anyway, the Trey introduced me to him, and the dude was like, "Yo, I heard you like to shoot photos and you work the camera." He was like, "For my website, I want to have more pictures and maybe like videos of what a session looks like and stuff. So if you bring your camera, I'll teach you too. You just got to document if I invite you over for a session or whatever."
Mm.
And so he taught me some like basic stuff and like dealing with frequencies and how to use analog equipment that allowed me to figure out the digital equipment I was using. So some of that helped, and then some of it like you play it by ear and you figure it out. And then when I started recording in Logic, right, recording
Mm-hmm.
Logic Pro X, which is a digital audio workstation specifically for Mac. When I started using it, I had to look up how to use it and how to mix. So I literally just YouTubed how to mix rap vocals with stock Logic plugins.
Mm.
So I didn't have to download and my homie sent me some extra plugins and stuff, but like it was just like that YouTube video walked me through step by step, and it helped me create my own presets for my own vocals. So the next time I go in, I'm not messing with the levers and stuff too much on everything. All
That's
I'm
cool.
doing is I have a list written down right from that YouTube video on how to do it, and I have my presets saved for my vocals because it took me a few hours to mix it, but now since I'm always doing only my vocals, I just go click, 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 listen to it, and then I know what to adjust if I need to because I just have a little bit of knowledge that I know what stuff does. You feel me?
That's awesome. It's amazing all the crap you can learn on YouTube. I mean, most of my knowledge comes from what I've learned on YouTube.
Yeah.
But
I mean, it's a good resource, man. Like, it's so much stuff out there. People put all kinds of stuff on YouTube. How to do stuff, new stuff that you need to learn. Hell, you could probably get a whole like bachelor's just YouTube stuff if you find the right information. You feel me?
Yeah. Actually, I suggest that for kids going into community college, or if you're going to community college, if you're trying to figure out a way to finesse the game per se, do your studies, learn what's up, learn what you need to learn, and then pay to take the test. I think there should be something out there that directs people to what you need to know, so you can do that. That'd be a cool way to help people save money.
Yeah, for real. And it's a you could do that with. I know some classes you could do that with. I know some I don't think they let you, but like you could do that. There's a lot of classes if you study, you could just test out of a class. You don't even. A lot of people don't know that. You go to school like I went to a university for 2 years. I dropped out. I went to a community college for a year, got my associate's degree, and now I'm entering my senior year at the University of Arizona. Finish my degree out. And like if I'd have known that in the beginning, like I know you could do that for like Spanish, but I didn't know that was other classes you could do that for. You could just test out of them. Like I had a history class. I probably could have tested out of my freshman year, but I paid for it instead, and it would have been a lot cheaper. Like I didn't never study for the class. I showed up like 30 minutes late to the final because I slept in. I made an 88 on the final. I never really paid it. Like I could have did that easy. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Instead of wasting my time. But yeah, that's the important thing, man. Like kids could learn. Like basically when you go to school, you're paying them to walk you through something essentially. That's what you're
And
paying
you need
for
to do
them
shit
to
yourself.
provide the information to you, to hand feed you what you need to know. They tell you buy this book, or they give you the lectures, they give you a video or PDF, and it just has all the information you need. But like all that information usually is public and you could go find it somewhere.
Yeah.
You just
Right
have to,
now, right
know where.
now, MIT is giving out courses, they're intro courses. However, there's still valuable material. You can get on MIT right now, and there's so much content. You can learn these things for free. I did it was a speech one. It was one on how to give a presentation, and I recommend it for everyone. But there's just so much stuff there that's for free, and I'm glad they're getting into this wave of giving things out for free, because it helps us all, and we need that so we can get a better. I don't know. It helps you because it helps us not necessarily just for a leg up, but I don't know. You're paying all this money, and it can be so bullshit. Sometimes I think about right now how people are going to get charged the same amount of money for doing classes online, and they're still charging the students the same prices. Like it's so bullshit.
Yeah.
That's why I'm really interested in, like, hey man, encourage these people to take their test and pay for it that way. If they're gonna jip us, let's get the leg up on them.
Right. Exactly. Exactly. And that's kind of like the biggest thing that I try to also like kind of teach the kids that I work with. And like teaching wise, I'm in special education, so it's like the amount of kids that I really get to teach about you know college and stuff like that is limited. But in my coaching career, I often get a lot of those kids that it's like, yo, let me teach you some ways to make this actually worth your time. Let me teach you that there's some secrets to finessing the system that maybe that you don't understand, that people aren't going to teach you. There's some alternative pathways that people aren't showing you to do things.
Mm.
And so it's being able to like, I had to learn a lot of my stuff by trial and error, because like nobody in my family graduated from college. Like nobody in my immediate family, and then not even anybody in my extended family, to my knowledge, until my aunt, like one of my aunts just graduated a year ago. Like before her, you know what I'm saying? So when I first went to college, nobody in my family had graduated. Nobody like close to me, you know what I'm saying? Outside of like distant cousins.
Mm-hmm.
So I didn't like they couldn't teach me what to expect. They kind of prepared me to get to that point because they got to the point, and there they was like, ah. So I figured out a lot of stuff by trial, and I don't want to. I want to try to save other people some of that error if I can. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, you're paying it forward. You're trying to teach the lesson that no one ever gets easy. the learning from someone else's experience. That's like the golden lesson, if you ask me.
Yeah, and it's crazy because like that's something that you could do no matter what you're doing in this world, bro. And like for anybody that's gonna hear this, like no matter what you are doing in life, you can always pay it forward. You can always make an impact on the people after you, right? So like I work in education, I get the opportunity to teach people, obviously, right? But at the same time, if I'm doing music, I can always pay forward to people with my music something that maybe they didn't know they could do, teaching them something new through my music. You know what I'm saying? You can always pass something down.
Yeah.
I could always be like, hey, this is how I started recording my music. And someone, the next person may not know, well, how do I even, how do I get my music off the ground? And how do I share it with the public? And how do I get it to be mixed a certain way? I don't have a lot of resources. Nobody wants to help me. You could always pay it forward, bro. No matter what you're doing.
You mentioned coaching. What do you
Yeah.
what are you coaching?
Soccer.
Mm. Did you play prior to?
Yeah, I played I picked up soccer late. Like I played when I was younger, like sixth grade I started. So I was like 10 at that time, I think. And then like Townview didn't have sports, as you know. And my parents didn't want me to like have to be bused from Townview to Samuel to go play sports there.
Mm-hmm.
They were trying to like keep me out of certain situations, and they were like, you need to focus on your grades. So I did like a lot of like street balls and like indoor soccer leagues and stuff like that. And then in college I played club. When I got to college, I had a friend in the dorms, and then their boyfriend was playing, so she was like, yo, like come to soccer practice with us and just play because you're very athletic. And so I did that. And then I did that for a few years, and I moved out here, and I was working at the school, and they were like, well, I was like, I need some overtime, like I need to make more money. And they were like,
Mm-hmm.
can you coach anything? And I was like, yeah, like I coach soccer. And so they were like, we need an assistant. And so I started off doing that. I was assistant for 3 seasons at a high school. Uh, and then I ended up moving over to, I'm coaching at another high school now. And I just took a head coaching position there.
That's what's up.
Um, and then I'm a head coach at one of the club teams. I have a club team that I coach, and I do some like private training as well. So that's kind of how I got into that.
Now is your team any good?
My club team is pretty decent, I would say. Like not great. It was weird, man. Like I always take on rebuilding jobs. I feel like a lot of times.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and so like with the club team, I got there a year ago. I want to say it was a year and a half ago. I got there, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then I had 8 kids when I got there. I had 8 girls on my team. Now, to keep in mind, okay, this is U19. Okay, so this is 19 and under. Most of my players are like 16, 17.
Mm.
Like at this time, I think they might have been 15, 16. So it's 11v11. You got to have 11 people on the field minimum. That's not counting any subs. You got to have 11 people on the field if you have a full team on the field. I only had 8. And so it was like, okay, well, we can't even, like, we had to borrow players from other teams a lot of the times.
Oh, dang.
Like before we would go to a game, like I'd ask one of the other coaches, like, yo, can I borrow your girls? Or call a coach at another club, like, yo, can I borrow 4 of your kids for this weekend?
How does that
And so
work?
I got lucky in the club that I was at. We had another U19 girls team like mine, but that team was like more experienced. So I was just able to borrow their players because they didn't have a spring. Like we were in different leagues basically. So like I was playing, like I was coaching county ball, and the other team was a state league team. State league doesn't play in the spring. County
Mm.
league does fall and spring. State league doesn't do spring. So those girls were just training and practicing for tournaments and showcases. So since they didn't have games, their coach was able to loan me them a lot. And then then when we got to this fall, just past fall 2019, I had 12, and we were not good. We were bad. We lost probably like 9 games, and I think we tied one. And then we got into spring, And then I finally, like, because I just created an environment where the kids wanted to be there and they felt valued, and they felt like they enjoyed themselves and they were learning. We ended up going up to 16 players, which is like a good size roster. Most coaches would probably tell you they want at least 18. I got to 16, and then we started looking like we knew what we were doing. We were playing good. We went into a tournament. Every game was real close. We won half of them. So then I was like, okay, this is in 1 year. I stuck with the vision. I've got us kind of where we wanted to. And then COVID happened, bro. So like right when we started actually being better and good, season got shut down. The new high school team I just took over, the last season they didn't win any games. So they had a rough season. They went like 0-17. They had a rough time. But I also have not had the chance to coach them at all. I just accepted the job. I've talked to the kids a little bit, like over Zoom. And we got like a team group chat going, but we can't get on the field yet. We're supposed to be getting on the field sometime this month, hopefully. Maybe. Like that's still risky, you know what I mean? So I don't know if they're any good. I have 2 of those kids at club, and I know those kids are solid, but I don't know what the other 10, 15 of them are like or how good they are.
Are you doing anything to get them ready or encouraging them to do certain procedures to keep them in shape for this?
Right now, club, yes. High school, no, because I've gotten to talk to the kids like once, really, you know what I mean? And there's it. Put it like this: high school season, right? We don't have our season until like November, December. Club is gonna pop back up in August, September. So they all have club teams that they're at. Their coaches should be getting them ready. And for me, I do want to get them ready, but one, I don't even know what they need to work on. You feel me? Because I've seen them play. Like I watched them play like a game last season to go scout it out, but it's so much to start from, and then like getting them to work out. You're trying to get a team to work out full of kids that you've never really built a connection with. There's no rapport built there, and the program was obviously broken. Like no, like I mean, I don't really care, but like no disrespect, man, I guess, but like the program was broken. They went 0-17 last year. Like they know they need to be in shape right now. You feel me? But I'm also the new coach, and so you kind of like before you start demanding things, I kind of want to like know, well, what do you guys want? What do you guys expect? And then I can start making my demands and what I want out of them. And I kind of need to know them and what their fitness levels are. I do know that I told them, hey, we're gonna start sometime this summer. Like, are y'all down? Unanimously, they all were interested in getting back on the field and getting them back into shape. So as a coach, I feel like that's more of my responsibility to do it rather than for me to expect them to do it right now because I've never met them in person. But like, if once I get them started and get them on the road this month and we're able to get on the field, then obviously I'll have expectations for them to kind of carry out their own stuff.
Dude, that's a lot of pressure if you ask me. That's you have to coach. You're in charge of people not only helping them proceed in being good at soccer, you're also trying to keep them safe in the process for all of this. What does training them during COVID even look like for you?
So training during COVID, there's some restrictions obviously that we got. So there's basically the governing bodies of sports and athletics in Arizona, depending on what sport and what season you're in, they set different phases, right? So it's usually like a 4-phase, maybe, let's say 4 phases, right? So phase 1 is there's no contact. Everybody's at least 6 to 10 feet apart. There's no sharing equipment. You can't share balls with each other. You can't share cones. Like everybody has to have their own set of stuff. And you got to stay apart. When you're not exercising, you got to have masks on. You can't do any drills that requires more than one person. So you're doing individual training with multiple kids at the same time, basically. And then after that, like as they progress into the next phases, they limit how many people you can, work with at a time. They'll limit like you can start going to like 4v4 drills at most or something like that, right? You can share a ball, but they're like, oh, minimize it. Don't do the whole practice. Do maybe like no more than 20, 30 minutes like that. Then they'll loosen it up and they'll say, okay, you can scrimmage against people that are also at your club or at your school. And then they'll open it up when everything's done, whenever that's going to be. We'll go back to normal. But it's tough because when you playing soccer, man, you're trying to train kids and they tell you can't share a ball. It's like, I get it, but it's at their feet. They had on shoes.
Yeah, that's crazy
Like,
to me.
yeah, it's like we can't practice passing because they can't pass the ball back and forth
Fucking
unless you
soccer.
find them
Yeah.
unless you find a wall, which is harder to find than you think it is when you're at a field. Unless you find a wall, like a flat wall, you can't practice passing with them. You can't practice shooting. You're just pretty much doing dribbling, footwork, fitness, running, push-ups, sit-ups, juggling, like, trying to teach them new dribble moves. Like, that's the kind of stuff really that I was working on when we were in phase one for club. And then like high school is still in phase one. So yeah, it's going to be an interesting thing to have to try to do.
I'm hearing this and I'm going, the cost of this just goes up. I would hope that funding for this is through the school and not on the coaches.
Yeah. So when you're coaching high school ball, you get funding from the athletics program at the school. If it's a school sanctioned thing, right? So when schools give us the green light to practice, you get funding for gear and equipment, obviously, from the school and from your team. You have a team budget, you have athletics budget. Uh, at the club level, everything again goes through the club. So your organization, they generally fund you with a certain amount of stuff. And like sometimes as a coach, man, sometimes you do have to put a little money because the amount of paperwork you got to wait for the school or the club to give you stuff sometimes, and the amount of time you got to wait, you can be like, bro, I'm gonna go to Dick's Sporting Goods and get that shit myself.
Yeah.
So like sometimes I buy like extra cones, but it ain't nothing expensive. But yeah, you usually have funding. Like the schools are really good about the athletics program. I like spend so much money on balls, a year, and a certain amount on whatever. They obviously give you the field and the lights and stuff, and then you have a team budget, so your team has to fundraise or make money somehow, and then you can spend that money on whatever you want, pretty much whatever you and the kids agree within reason to get it for the team. But since I just started at the school, I don't even know what's in the budget yet because everything's been closed. So I don't know what the team has. I don't know what I can spend and what we don't have to spend. I was doing that right before I got on with y'all. I was trying to fundraisers. Because you got to do a fundraiser, but it's like it's COVID, man. People trying to save money, so it's a weird
Yeah.
position to be in.
You have a battleground in front of you, and dude, it's that is crazy. I don't. For me, I don't deal with that on a daily basis. What I do is I'm in land title insurance, so pretty much I'm dealing with other things, but it's not like with people. I think that's just a crazy thing. You're instructing people. That is
Yeah.
it's a whole nother thing. Not yeah, you're also teaching people. You're coaching and teaching people. It's 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 a crazy thing. I
So,
I'm rambling because I'm speechless. It's like for me, it's like man, you're doing the hard work out here.
yeah, I appreciate that, man. Like, honestly, it gets hard at times. It's not the hardest job in the world, and maybe that's just because I love what I do, and so it doesn't feel as hard. Like sometimes it is, but it's a lot of pressure. I'll say that. I'll say it's not necessarily hard. It's just pressure, and how you handle the pressure makes the difference. It's how you handle the pressure and it's your support system, honestly. Because like as a coach, you are teaching them soccer, obviously, right? Like I'm teaching them soccer, but I'm teaching them how to be better people. I'm trying to teach them how to be better students. I'm training them to be better employees or bosses in the future, right?
Mm.
So trying to show them different examples on how to do that. I'm helping these kids create career paths for themselves. I'm helping these kids create more opportunities to go to school for themselves, right? Like I'm trying to help them make their dreams come true. There's a young lady who my first year coaching, it was her senior year of high school, right? and she had played before I got to that school as an assistant. She had played the year before. She had some dramatic family events that happened. And she was very talented. She was recognized as one of the best players in the state. Okay, in the year right before. Right after that, she was like, "I'm never gonna play again," because life just hit her hard, right? So when I got there as an assistant, we were looking at our roster. We were like, we need a piece. And the coach that was there before me, he was still a math teacher at the school. He was like, "Yo, you need to go find this kid and like ask her to play. Like, come get her out there." So this kid that had like all these accolades, she decided she was never gonna play again. I went and found her, asked her to come play. I was like, "We kind of need you, like, in order for this season to be a possible success." She comes out like second half of the season and plays, does phenomenal, right? And still after that, she's like, "I don't know if I ever want to play again, or if I ever want anything to do with the sport again," just because life had hit her hard, and it was kind of related to soccer in a way, right? So it was a lot of pressure for me to be like, okay, I see how much potential this person has for their life, and like they're about to possibly just throw this opportunity that they have away. So the next year, we brought that girl back as a coach. She graduated, and we brought her back as a volunteer coach. Or the first year she got paid, actually. We paid her as an assistant. So she came on, she joined us, and her coaching was phenomenal. She was a goalkeeper, so she was training the goalkeepers. She took a girl that had never played soccer, never touched the ball before in her life, and made her a top 10 goalkeeper in Arizona. Okay. That, like, in 1 year, that's how good this girl had become at coaching in her 1 year of coaching, right? She was training newcomers to be all-star worthy.
That's beautiful.
So, and then I was like, damn, I was like, you're really good at this. And then, we were hanging out one day because, you become colleagues. We were watching a soccer game, like a pro game. And I was like, "Yo, you ever thought about like continuing your playing career?" She was like, no one's ever going to me. No one's ever going to be there. I'm kind of out of shape. I've gotten a little chunky. I was like, within 48 hours, I can have at least one or two coaches reach out to you with a scholarship offer in 48 hours. I said, give me 48 hours, and if after that, I'll let it go. She said, all right, bet. It took me like 16 hours. I had a coach text me and was like, "Hey, yeah, let me go ahead and get in contact with this kid. I need a goalkeeper really bad." I had another coach that was like, "Hey, you got some film on her. I need a goalkeeper really bad." I had two within 24 hours. And then another like team had reached out to her separately, and they were like, "Hey, come play." They took her on, never seen her play. They just took her on because she had played with so many of the people they already had on their team. So she ended up getting a college scholarship to a community college, but they paid for her schooling and everything. And that gave her a chance to like now she realized she still loves the sport. She still was coaching. She's now building another opportunity. She was already doing nursing at the time, is what she was trying to study, but she now has another career pathway as a backup plan. You know me?
Dude, that there, with that, the actions you took with her pushing back from wanting to chase something she was good at, you just, for me, you showed leadership, and and I'm glad you did that, because you could have easily just like, okay, look, I'm not going to encourage you, but you found you found another way, brought her on to be a coach, and dude, that's amazing. I can tell that you're passionate about this. This is great. I want teachers to be this way in the classroom, on the field, and this is great. The
And
question that now I probably have for you is now, you want to rap, or do you want to, or you want to coach? Which one do you want to do? Because you are making waves in the coaching.
man, and so here's the thing, right? Like I said, with both, you can change the world. You can push the culture forward. You can pay it forward, right? And to go to, I'm gonna get to the answer, but coaching, right, with that kid I just gave you an example of, right? She is now 2021, okay? And not only, I'm 25 at the time. I got to make an impact on the youth before I was even really like an OG. You feel me?
Mm.
And so like not only did I have changed that person's life and other players' life, but now they are going to go and change other people's life. Like when we brought her back as a coach, they gave her a chance to improve the next kids and the next kids and the next kids. You feel me? And so it becomes like a
Yeah.
branch where your process of thought, your line of thought, your system of beliefs or whatever carries on to somebody else. And they continue changing the world off the impact that you helped make. And in the same way, music, you could do the same thing through it. You know what I'm saying? It's a J. Cole lyric from the Come Up. All right. And he said, young brothers emulate what's coming out the speakers because everything we learned came from rappers, not teachers.
Mm.
And that's the truth. Like you could do the same thing on a rapping level, you know, where you could, you know, Tupac said he may not change the world, but he'll spark the mind that will, right?
Mm.
And that's
Mm.
essentially what I'm doing as a coach and as a rapper. It's like, as a coach, I may not spark the mind that changes soccer forever. I may not create the GOAT, but maybe I spark a mind
That
that will
does.
later go ahead and make some big change and have some big legacy as a coach and what they've done for the community. You feel me? And as a rapper, if somebody hears my music and they find inspiration, maybe I don't make the changes that I want to see, but I've sparked someone else to go out and set forth and do so. So, I mean, to answer the question, it's like I want to do both because they're both my passions. And music was always my first love, and coaching was something I kind of stumbled upon that I realized I loved just as much. And the hard part was, man, when I first started, I didn't do music for a while because I couldn't figure out how to balance it. So
Mm.
something that a lot of people, as we get older, right, and we're rappers and we want to be music artists, you struggle with the idea of how do I have a job, a life, and still make my music? You know, because certain jobs, they want certain images. They don't want you to be saying certain stuff. You feel me? And you don't want your creativity and your ideas stifled by that. But you also have to be able to eat.
Yeah.
And so when I first started teaching, I was still doing music because I was going under another name. It wasn't related to my government name. It was capable for to separate my two lives. I could be a rapper over here. I could be a teacher over here. Nobody would ever know I was doing. Nobody would figure that out. Hopefully, until I got so big that it probably wouldn't matter by that point. I was kind of doing the Hannah Montana thing. You feel me?
Yeah.
That only lasted so long before like kids are crazy, bro. Like they look you up if you teach. Like they'll look you up and they'll find you on, no matter if your name's not attached to it, email, phone number, none of that's attached to it. So like one kid found my Instagram and they were like, "Yo, do you rap?" And I was, uh, yeah, kinda, because I knew I had stuff in my music that is like, if somebody find out like a teacher is saying certain words and, um, curse words and stuff like that, you can lose your job. And so I was like, yeah, I used to. And then so for a while I stopped making music because I was like, I don't know what I can say and what I can't say. And I work in a predominantly like suburban white district. And they more conservative over there. So I was like, I don't know if I feel like I'm gonna get some pushback basically. You feel me?
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, how do I balance this? How do I figure this out? And so I had to kind of like one day I decided I was gonna take all my music down. I'm gonna make clean versions. I'm gonna put them back up. And that's how I ended up
Mm.
doing the 513 EP, right? So I went ahead and did that. Boom. After I did that, I was like, any new music I make now, I gotta make clean versions. And so I remember when I was talking to my athletic director, we were doing game day playlists for soccer, right? You know, you walk into the like the field or whatever, you walk into the stadium, the field thing, and you're playing music. So I was like, what kind of music can I play? And he was like, you can play whatever you want, whatever genre. He's like, it's got to be clean, and that includes suggestive themes. He's like, not only curse
Mm.
words, but like themes that could be considered inappropriate for a school setting.
Mm.
And so like once I kind of like made that playlist of other songs that I would listen to, I knew, okay, I can make stuff, and I would hear what the other sports teams were playing. I was like, okay, I could make a song like, you know what I'm saying, within this realm of appropriateness. You feel me?
Mm-hmm.
And that allowed me to sit back and say, okay, you can do both, but here's how you got to do it. If you're going to do both, if you don't want to let one go for the other, you got to play within these rules, basically. And so I figured that out. So I started making some more music. And then that's when I realized, like, I changed my artist name because I was like, I'm going to come out and do like a big, I also rap and I teach and I coach. I'm going to let it be a public thing. And I'm supposed to do that a while ago, but I'm going to hopefully do it by my birthday this December. So I was like, let me go ahead and redo some new songs, put the old stuff that I want to keep it up, make clean versions. And now I can teach, I can coach, I can do music, I can be myself. I'm not hiding. I don't have to let go of either of my passions. I love them both so much that I would do either one professionally and or for free. So if music was to take off, then I would take off on music. I would run with music, and I would coach in my time. It would be like my side gig. Then, like right now, coaching is looking like it's gonna take off faster, just because coaching is like there's a set path that you take. You feel me? So you have an idea at least when and how it's gonna happen. Rapping, like it could be next week, it could be 10 years from now. You don't know. And so it kind of just depends. Like at most it's swung from side to side right now. Coaching's kind of forefront. But even if I coach professional, like I'm still going to like I get paid. As I'm a professional now, I get paid to coach. But like even if I like start making a full-time living off coaching, right?
Mm-hmm.
I would still be doing music just because I love it. I would still be putting it out in public, at least if for nothing else, just for fun, for a side gig to pay. Maybe something I wanted to do was I figured a big way to present doing music to my education family as a positive thing is if I can tie them in together somehow. So I was like, maybe I'm making a full-time living off of soccer and special education. I was like, maybe I could rap, and when I drop my album, I'll put all the proceeds toward my soccer kids. Like I'll make a scholarship in my name, right? And then the scholarship is basically it's all the money I've made off royalties last year or something. And I'd be like, look, it's a few $100s or it's $1,000 or something. Here's a scholarship for a kid to go to school to pay for their books or something.
Dude, that's beautiful. That's beautiful.
It's a beautiful thing. It helps people. It allows me to do both of my passions. It's a good PR move. You know what I'm saying? But it's good for everybody. So that's kind of like type of stuff I was thinking about trying to pull off.
Do it, man. I know you got it. I hear it. I know you got it.
For sure. It's coming, bro.
I had a question for you prior to, because I was thinking about it, because since you produce, one of the things that I've been running into or listening to in the media is there was some musicians that copyrighted all of the melodies, and they did it with the intent of preventing someone from doing it before them and then charging everybody from using all the melodies that ever existed. And the next thing that the thought came to was, people are also using things to automate music now. So instead of actually putting in the work to make their music, they're going in there and they're just automating beats. They're like, here's a genre, they'll press two buttons and it'll spit it out for them. That's becoming a thing. How do you feel about that?
It's man, I think the real music will always prevail. I think people know the difference between, what I'm saying, a hot and spicy McChicken and like a homemade cooked chicken breast sandwich from your mama or something. Like people know when you make stuff with love, you feel me? Or whether it's just a copy and paste, what I'm saying, easy bake oven music. Like people know. And we've always known, and I think it's more people doing it now, but it's always been happening. You know what I'm saying? The record label's been doing it for decades and centuries, man. Where they just been automating music and making very generic stuff. So, I mean, I kind of don't mind just because I do what I do, and I know that if I sit, no, like music is so subjective, right? And it's an art form. And the thing about art forms is there's perfection in the imperfections. And so like no automation can ever make music better than like the best human. You feel me?
I
The
feel you.
best robot will never, the best like essential machine or robot or system or automation will never make better music than the best human musician, because it's so subjective anyway. Who is the best musician? What's the best kind of music? Like what's the best sound? Those little imperfections are the things that take songs to the next level. And automation, I don't think at this point, I don't think automation is at the level in the music world to where it's ever going to match that, or at least not in my lifetime.
That's always a scary thought that I play around with. It's the what if it does one day, and well, what do you run to then? If you can basically generate every song through some robots,
Yeah.
dude, that shit blows my mind because we're getting closer. Technology exponentially increases, so it's just I know it's around the corner. There's this it's not an app. It's an AI called Wolfram is it Wolfram Tech? Point is, they generate music. It'll generate music for you. You'll go there and you'll just put it in. And it'll just spit it out, and
Yeah.
it sounds legit. But it's just one of those things where you start going, dude. Oh, and you just mentioned it. I believe in it. Yeah, humans will be able to. You'll be able to tell the love in it. I don't know if you can put a code to love and heart just yet, but that's one of those things that boggles me when we get
Right.
there. Mm.
I mean, and perhaps at some point, right? Like artificial intelligence is there. Artificial intelligence at some point will start to, maybe like in the future, we'll be able to capture like human emotion and like all of those tiny nuances that make us human, right? People are constantly working towards that in the technology world to get artificial intelligence there at some point. Not just mimicking um what, like, artificial intelligence like lately is just taking in information from humans, from us, and then mimicking it, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Eventually artificial intelligence make it to where it can generate its own like that, um and maybe can like critically think and learn new things for itself without at some point, maybe in the next few decades or 100 years, I do feel like we'll get there. Now, whether I'll be alive or an old man and retired by the time, I think that'll be the case. Either I'll be retired or I'll be dead. But then, even once artificial intelligence gets to that point, you got to remember that they got to be able to apply that to the different like industries. So then, like by the time you get that over to music, that's gonna be a while. And again, I think like you think about art, right? And let's think about a picture. What are the different ways you can make a picture, right? You can take a photo, you can you can print a photo, right?
You
With
could draw that
technology.
same photo.
Right. So you know you can there's certain things that you can do without much human input that's done by a machine to capture a picture of something, right?
Hmm.
Now, when you look at humans, when we do stuff, we can, in order to capture a picture with human input, you can draw, you can color, you can paint, right? You can do a sculpture or whatever. You have all these different options. If I painted an image and I had a printer print an image, those two images won't look exactly the same. And no matter how much I repaint that same image, it will never look like the printer image. Do you see what I'm saying?
I get you. The interpretation from the
It's the
humans.
interpret it's the interpretation and it's the variance of like humans, human perception, human emotion, human like input and output and things like that that machines can't fully capture. And that's like what that's what I'm saying basically. You know, things look one way to us in person, and then when we take a picture, it looks completely different.
Yeah.
A picture never looks exactly the same way that you saw it. It's like you ever see those highlight videos that, and then I've seen people, maybe I know you've been off the grid for a minute, but like I'll see them and something like, damn, that looks clearer than my actual eyesight.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? Real talk, you'll see
It
me
looks.
like, damn, that looks clearer. Or you'll see something and you'll be like, wow, that the frame rate on that is moving smoother than if I was just looking at this in person.
It's
and
uncanny.
it is uncanny. But like, one, that's a shout out to the advancement of technology. But two, that's the difference between how humans are always going to be able to interpret things differently from a machine, and it'll never come out the same. And because it's subjective, again, it's going to look different to everybody. I've rewatched stuff that I was in person for before, and it looks completely different.
Mm. I it's it's funny that you mentioned that because for me, some of that stuff looks so real. I like turn. I don't know. I'm a big fan of 1080, and I'll do 4K. But maybe I'm getting old, but yeah, man. Sometimes I prefer 1080 over like extreme 4K all day.
Yeah, I mean that's real. And that's how humans perceive and appreciate and like things. You know what I'm saying? And so
It's the
it'll be the
same
same
way.
thing. It's just the way we capture things as humans and the way we observe and take in things. A human, there's always going to be that human input, that human difference, that variance from human to human that changes how something looks to them. Compared to a machine, it'll always look the same.
Now, how do you feel about androids just in general? I always play around with this thought process because the personally, I feel like with race relations and how we always manage to figure out a way to divide everyone. One of the next things on the table has got to be deciding whether an android has any right to be considered alive or not alive.
Man, I'm gonna say, oof. This is something I think about a lot, and uh, I'll go a little bit off the deep end here, right? That is gonna come on the table at some point. Yes, 100%. I think we are far off from it. I think we're at least 2 centuries away from it. Here's why.
Mm.
Okay.
I don't know. I want to hear you. I want to hear you.
So I think we'll get lifelike, android, robot, artificial intelligence. I think we will get that before the next 200 years. We'll get that within the next 100. Hell, maybe the next 50 or something.
I'm
Okay.
on that one. I'm on that one.
But the reason, like the question on if they are human and how many rights they get and stuff like that, I think we're 200 years off of that. I want you to think back, okay, for our time, right, our ancestors is black people, right?
Mm-hmm.
Our ancestors were obviously human, okay, they always were. There was no significant difference between them and the colonist counterparts, right?
Yeah.
But they were able to be seen as subhuman for so long. They were
Mm.
referred to as subhuman, humanoid animals, property. Okay, all of those things. Now, if we saw humans like that for so long, women were seen as sub. You know what I'm saying? Like subordinates and inferior to men, right? And so were people of different ethnicities outside of the major one, the majority one. It took, it realistically took women, 100 plus years in order to get all of their rights, right? Think about that for a second. Can you hear me? Yo, sing. Yo, sing. Yo, can you hear me?
Yo, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
God damn it, bro! Never fails. That's why I can't wait for the COVID shit to be done so I can just meet with people and have them come to me and we
Yeah,
record in the studio or something. Because this shit's so annoying when it does that.
yeah,
I dropped out when you were saying basically you were at the end of women's suffrage and how it took 100 plus years before they became recognized as humans.
yeah. Okay, so it took before they got recognized as fully fledged humans with their full rights from the beginning. We're only on American history, right? So going from 1776 all the way to women's suffrage was like late 1800s, and I want to say like 1920s, they got the right to vote. Okay. 100 plus years it took for them to get their full rights. Black people from America in 1776, okay, to the 13th Amendment, black men specifically, because women still weren't able to vote. Black men, it took us until post Civil War to be seen as humans and to get our full rights. It took us all the way to the 1960s, technically. Right. And
Yep.
some would say
Yep.
even to this day, that's still an issue. So really, it took 200 years, not even counting slavery before America was its own independent country. Only counting that, it took 200 years for black people. It took over 100 years for women of all colors. And the next thing, like after that, then you start looking at the other minority groups like gay couples,
Yep.
you know, and the LGBTQ community. It took them until a few years ago for them to be even able to get married in certain states, bro.
And they're
That like
still
now that
dealing
you
with
think about
bullshit.
it, like we were in high school when it still wasn't legal. I remember still being at Longview, and it was not legal in certain states in the country for gay people to get married. That was crazy. But like now, though, they're starting to get all of their full rights, right? And then immigrants are next. You got to go through all of the human minority groups. Then now people are like on this animal rights trail, right? Where
Yeah.
animals, as minorities were once seen, as black people were once seen as animals, now we're fighting for animal rights for actual animals, like dogs and things like that. They're starting to get more rights on what you can and can't do to your animals, right? They're not just property anymore. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I don't know how far animal rights is going to go, but it's going to go even more at some point where there's going to be certain animal privileges and animal rights are going to get a little bit tighter as time goes on at some point. Once all
How do you feel about that? Because the reason now I have a rabbit, and what I've noticed is there's some form of consciousness. Well, you don't understand that until you actually become a pet owner. Because prior to this, I never owned a pet, and my household was real big on, hey man, that's a pet, and you know what? I ain't finna no fuck. Basically, it was like, hey, fuck that dog coming to my house eating my food next to me. That's
yeah.
kind of the life I was brought up on. But actually, when you actually get a pet, you start realizing there's a little bit more to it than just like, nah, that's another pet.
So peep this, right? Think about how, you know what I'm saying, pets have been around in different countries for centuries and centuries, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, that's how things get domesticated over time. They evolve into domesticated pets and domesticated pets. Now, think about how the animals that are consistently pets in people's houses, right?
Mm-hmm.
Those are the pets that we don't eat. Does that make sense?
Mm.
Okay, we probably didn't care at one point. Now, I also think that like, so first thing was people had pets for decades and decades and millennia, and at first the animals that they owned, right, or pets or whatever, it was only for food. Then people started having pets for fun. Okay, but there still weren't a lot of laws. You could do whatever you want. Then people started having pets they were treating like kids.
Yeah,
We're like, this is
there's a
my
lot of
fur
that.
baby, my child, right? And then eventually people start tightening up different pet laws and things like that, and you can bring them certain places and you can't leave them in certain things. I'm not saying those things are wrong, but eventually pets started getting more. Pets aren't ever going to get the right vote or some crazy shit like that. Um, but I don't want to sound like too, but like they are getting rights into their safety and their well-being. Okay, now once you go through all of that, like once you get introduced with these androids and like the AI eventually, right, they do introduce that into the world, like into the public, not just in the private, but in the public, and they get fully integrated. You still got to remember that after that, it's going to take a certain amount of time before they even start accepting like and saying, oh well, maybe until there's some activist group that's like, okay, these AIs deserve rights. They have to be in the public for so long before someone even considers that or becomes a big enough push. You feel me?
Mm.
And for so many other minority groups and animals and stuff, it's taken 100 plus years easy.
That social
So
opinion.
so it's like, you know, it's gonna take, we haven't even got AIs in the public yet like that. we got to wait for that first. How long does that take? And then after that, how long does it take for them to start, for people to really start pushing for them as their own conscious life forms or something? That's at least 200 years.
You make a very good point. And then the question gets asked, if we see history and we're sitting here and we're seeing it repeat itself time after time after time, why don't we just nip that shit in the bud 50 years earlier and going into it? We just go ahead and say, hey, this is what that is, because it's only a matter of time. You want to be the asshole that gets you're like, oh, it's the new human, almost 5,000. Get it in your house, and next thing you know, when the revolution starts, they're gonna start offing people because you had a human bot 5,000. So it's always a fun thought to play around with, man. It always is.
It is, man. It's a crazy thought to play around with, and I mean, like I said, I think by the time that happens, I'll be dead and gone probably. And I think anybody currently on this planet will be absolutely gone. I think the only people that might be alive by the time they even introduce those into the general public may be the newborns, and they may be old as dust and retired by the time it happens. I think we're at least 50 years from AIs being introduced into the public. And then I think after that, in order for first AI has to get good enough to be worthy of somebody fighting for his right. So you got to wait for it comes out to the general public. Then it's got to improve over time, like all technology does. And then you got to get an activist group. And that every activist movement is hundreds of years plus in the never a short. You know what I'm saying? Nothing ever exists, and then the next year people are fighting for it. It's it's got to come out, and then 100 years later, people are it's got to go through some shit. 100 years later, people are like, oh, this is bad. Maybe we should treat this better. And then then the fight starts. So, I don't know, man. That's a good question though. That's interesting. That reminds me, a good movie you should watch related to that. Watch this movie. It's called Ex Machina.
Oh yeah, I've seen it. That's
okay.
That's a good one, and it's. I don't know if if I want to spoil that for anyone, but it's just that the outcome of that movie is probably the outcome for the entire human race when you really think about it. If once that gets into the population, unfortunately, I feel like it's either going to be that, or hopefully it'll be a push to singularity, where then they're trying to force us to become more like them, and others, instead of getting rid of us.
I mean, and that's very possible. That's what, again, every struggle that everybody has to go through, that's what always happens. There's a attempt for assimilation fails, and you see where you go from there. So I definitely think that's going to be interesting, I would say, to see. But again, I don't think I'm going to fully see it. But for now, we get some really Ex Machina that we can watch and, kind of imagine or whatever. But that's, man, that's crazy, bro. And that's all I got for today. To be fair, I got a coaching session I got to get to in a few minutes, to be honest with you.
All right, well, it's been amazing talking to you, bro, and catching up with you. Do you have a couple seconds to drop some bars freestyle wise? Because that's one of the things I want to do with this. When I talk to an artist, I want to do the whole sway in the morning thing. I want them to drop some bars.
Oh man, all right, you just put me on the spot like that.
Yeah, man.
Yeah. All right. Let's see here.
No pressure.
All right. I got you. Go. It's a reason now don't ask for things back. They never look for deeper meaning past the surface I scratch. Cause I could give my 2 front teeth for somebody that sees me as somebody that's just beneath them, borderline psychopath. Call me what you want. I eat criticism for breakfast. I pray niggas never need me, cause I ain't helping. I do that for the kids. That's the only time I'm selfless. Pray you not allergic, cause I'm about to be shellfish. No shrimp though. Little fish, big pond. Trying to get my swim on. Now I got my fence going. Now I'm grown up and glowed up in the little pond, a big fish in school, but from here on out it's business.
That's what's up, man. You stay up and keep being the badass that you are. Talk to you next time, man.
Yes, sir. Take care.